Hey folks, it's Ray with Taste Radio. Right now, I am honored to be with the one and only Sammy Hagar, the founder of Santo Tequila. Sammy, great to see you.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Ray.
This is an interview that I've been wanting to do for some time, and I'm so glad that you're here with me on this Friday afternoon. Where are you based? Are you in California?
Yeah, I'm based in California. I always have been, born and raised here. And as much as I don't agree with a lot of things in California, and uh, I stay here. I keep saying, well, I tried another state, and I live in Mexico part time, and I lived in Hawaii for quite a while. Yeah, I live in California. Reluctantly, like everyone else, I'm sitting here going, why do I live in California again? Well, I guess I love the coast.
Me as well. I am a West Coast guy. Literally, the coast, I think, is more important than the west part of it. And anytime you're near water and can look out at the ocean, it's one of the greatest experiences you'll ever have.
Absolutely. Well worth the price. It's expensive out here.
Yeah. I mentioned you were the founder of Santo Tequila, and I kind of skipped over everything else you've done in your life. In your professional music career, I imagine there's a lot of ups and downs and kind of knocking your head against a wall. And, with all the wins and fun, it can be difficult. But in the beverage alcohol space, I know for sure it can be a very difficult road. But what do you think is more difficult, professional music or beverage alcohol?
Well, now I think beverage and alcohol. Well, wait a minute. They've both gotten more difficult. How about that, Rick? Because back in the old days when I was first starting out as a musician, before MTV, and as all there was kind of like rock radio, and it was really fun and easy, quite honestly. Like in Montrose, I mean, it felt like it was a struggle, maybe getting financially on your feet, but the actual business was just, man, record companies would sign you, and they would sign you for a 3 record deal, and they would pay for you to go out on the road and open for big bands. Uh, that was awesome. It's just not like that anymore. Now you have to have some kind of a gimmick, or you have to go out and starve yourself to death and just play and play and play anywhere for free, and for no money, sleeping in a car and stuff, and going from club to club to club, playing for 15 or 20 people. Just to After years, maybe you get an audience, or you get some crazy whacked out thing on YouTube and have 500 million views, and all of a sudden you're a superstar, but not necessarily longevity. So it's a whole different world. And when I first started out with tequila, I built a club called Cabo Wabo in Mexico, 1986, 87, 85, somewhere around there. I started building that place, and I wanted it to be a tequila bar, and I wanted to have my own tequila. And it was real simple. I just built the cantina, went down there and played all the time for free, which is what I was doing. Play music is fun, it's easy. And I launched a tequila brand from that. And, in 1988, I believe it was. I mean, I'm not good with years and stuff, but I just know that it was fun and easy. I just went on tour. So we're like what I always do. I built my stage to look like the inside of the Cabo Wabo Cantina. I had 50, 60 people sitting on stage partying with me and in bleachers. I had waitresses come out serving my tequila. I did that for about 5 years, and I had the second to the largest premium tequila in the world, Cabo Wabo. And it was like, that was easy. That was fun and easy. And then Campari comes along and said, we want to buy it. I'm going, geez, it's not for sale. I'm having a ball here. What are you talking about? And then they showed me the figures, and I went, damn, that's life changing. So I did it. Wanted to do it again because it was so much fun with tequila, and it's all changed. Now it's really hard, to start a spirits. You gotta be talking about 40, 50, 60 million dollars throwing at a brand uh, to grow it and make it big in this day and age. So music and spirits have both gotten really difficult. I don't know which one I'd say would be easier. I'd say probably rock and roll, because once again, you just go out and do your passion. You don't have to have any money, but if you're going to get in the spirits industry, you better have some cash and people backing you, and you got to build a team, or you got to find someone, like I said, to back you, and or use your own money, like Guy and I do. We don't have backers, and our goal is to make the best tequila in the world, not to be the biggest tequila in the world. See, we're not trying to build to outdo Clooney, those guys who outdid me. when I sold Cabo Wabo, I was like Mr. Feather in the Cap. How did you do that? Well, I don't know how I did it, but I know how to do it. I don't know what I did. It's like, but I can do it. Those guys came along, kind of copied that model, and everybody's kind of building the cell, building the cell. Well, we're not necessarily doing that. We're building to have the best tequila in the world, and we're just trying to build a brand that's solid. And the celebrity thing, which I'm sure you'll bring up eventually, it hurts us, believe it or not. It's like in the old days when I did it the first time, I was the first celebrity to do it. It was like, wow, Sammy Hagar has got a tequila. Wow, that was news. So you got a lot of press about it and a lot of, wow, what does he know about tequila? Then I do an interview. I'd say, I know a lot about tequila. I make the best tequila in the world. And it was fun to be and to do it like that. But now it's like, shh, don't use their name. It's like people think we're celebrity tequila. Celebrity tequila is 90% of them are garbage. And anybody that doesn't know that, just go out and go ahead and buy them. But so now the celebrity thing is kind of a black mark. But we're always fighting to say no. Blind tastings is what I'm all about. I just did one recently, and I was in Mexico and I did a blind tasting I told the bartender at this really place, they had every tequila in the world back there and right outside of Jalisco. And I said, hey, let's do some blind tastings here. Tell me what you like and I'll tell you what I like. And then you go do it, set it all up, and I'll come and taste them. And they didn't have Santo. And so I like Ocho and a couple others. So I mentioned those, put them in there. I said, what's your favorite? He tells you this one. I go, that's not pure tequila, man. That's got additives in it, man. That's got glycerin in it. That's sugar. This one. Oh, that one's got vanilla. This was like a Blanco tequila that tastes like it's sweet and coconut and vanilla and all this stuff in it. I'm going, man, that's, come on. And I got to Ocho. I said, this is real tequila, man. And the guy's going, wow. you know, so I think
Yeah.
that's the way
Well,
you got to do it. You got to
yeah.
do a
Well,
blind tasting. Otherwise, you got a premeditated, preconceived idea of what this is going to be because this belongs to Sammy Hagar and Guy Fieri. Oh, it must be like fucked with, but it ain't.
yeah. Well, I mentioned you were the founder of Santo Spirits or Santo Tequila, and Guy Fieri has been your co-founder or joined the company a little bit later on after it was founded or launched. And, as you mentioned, you've been in this business for a long time, the tequila business, that is, and passion is important. And I think, on the point of a celebrity spirit or a celebrity backed brand, it's hard to verify authenticity. It's hard to verify that the person behind the brand is doing it for the right reasons, that they really love the product, they love the category, they love the business. And in your case, I think you loved all of them. You love tequila to start with. You love making people happy and sharing your passion with others. But just to back up for a second, I mean, how'd you get into tequila? What was your moment of discovery when it came to the spirit?
Well, being even before I was a musician entertainer, I kind of was, I guess, when I look back at my high school years and stuff, I was all about, having a good time, party, being the life of the party if I could, and having all the girls, you know, want to dance with me and all that. So um, I liked tequila back then, even when I was younger, but because of the ritual. You're like, wow, you do a salt, you do a shot and bite the lime and go, woo. There was just something about that was a really good buzz, even though the tequila we were drinking back then, the next day it's go, never again, never again. And so that's really what hooked me into tequila. And the first time I went to Cabo back in 1978, 79, there was nothing. There were three hotels. You're at the hotel. Um, no dirt roads, one flight in a week, one flight out a week. And I went when I checked into the hotel, this resort called Twin Dolphins, not there anymore. It's now a Montage. The guys, they brought you out a shot of tequila, and I'm going, oh, no, 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 thank you, senor. And oh, so finally the guy says, no, it's a ritual. You have to do it. So I thought, yeah, and I tasted it, And I don't know what it was, but it was pure 100% agave. It was real tequila. And I had never had it before. And it was just like a reposado. And a tiny bit of salt on the rim, a little bit of lime if you want it. And man, I just went, wow, I've never had tequila like that. So I'm there for a week or so. I start talking to a guy that kind of run the place a little bit, Jorge Villaña, who's still my partner in Cabo Wabo, still runs the cantina today. And the first guy I met there, and he's going, oh man, let's. I said, wow, I want to build a place here. I fell in love with Cabo, so he took me down. We found the piece of property, and I bought it. Not the first time, but after I'd go back a couple times a year. So, long story short, finally, when I bought my first condo, which was the first condos they had in Cabo at Terrasol, I said, let's go get some furniture, and he took me to Jalisco and to Guadalajara. And then he said, let's go to tequila, drink tequila and eat some of the food. And I went around with him to these little small distilleries, and the farmers had their own little special batch. And I just fell in love. I just said, this is unbelievable. I saw them cutting the agave. I saw them putting it in wood burning ovens back then. Some of them were wood burning, to make the steam, and the smokiness and the food. And then you hear a mariachi band, and you just go, man, I'm in love. I mean, it's like, honestly, life changing back then. I'd never seen anything like it. And the passion of them cooking the agaves and working so hard, the humidors. And I fell in love with it. I really did. I mean, it got me like, oh, I was in the boat, filleted up, man. I was sushi in 5 seconds.
For those of you who are not watching the video, Sammy just hooked himself. So that's what he was talking about there.
Yeah, man. So anyway, I just fell in love with it, and I said, "Man, I'm going to build a cantina in Cabo." There's nothing there, all dirt roads. Back then there wasn't even electricity. They didn't even have telephones, no telephones. You had to go into town. They had a telephone company where you went and paid the lady operator, and she dialed the number for you, 35 pesos to talk for 3 minutes. And that's all there was. No newspapers, no one flight in, one flight out a week. And I'm dreaming. I want to have a bar down here, and I want to have my own tequila. And I want to have that tequila that I'm drinking in Jalisco, and that was the beginning of Cabo Wabo. I did it. I
Yeah.
just went. I kept going back, and I found people that would send me the tequila. They sent me tequila in the Cabo Wabo days in friggin' gasoline cans. I mean, I'm talking about plastic ones and metal ones. 5 gallons, and they'd send me the Blanco, and I would put it in these little barrels and at the Cabo Wabo, and that's how Cabo Wabo started.
Hmm. Such a simpler time back then. I mean, it feels like it didn't take a lot to be happy. You just kind of set up shop and served what you wanted and shared that passion, as I mentioned, with others. Starting a second brand, as you alluded to, or as you noted, that it's a very different kind of industry that we're in right now. And I think to come to market, you've got to be very differentiated. You've got to have something, because maybe the second celebrity tequila brand, or at least the second tequila brand that was backed by or founded by a celebrity, that was kind of still interesting and differentiated. Now there's, I don't know, a few dozen of them out there. So when you started Santo 8 years ago and launched a pretty innovative and first of a kind product, there was that mezquila, which is a blend of mezcal and tequila. What was your mindset? What was your vision for the brand at the time, and what was the initial reception for it?
Well, yeah, it was it was a trip. I just didn't want to compete with Cabo Wabo because Campari bought it for me at such a beautiful amount of money that it changed my life. And I thought, well, why would I step on them? It's like it was my first baby. But then they changed it. They went and bought another distillery because I didn't own my distillery. I just was using this Miravalle at that time because Juan Eduardo got in trouble. But so I said, I don't want to make tequila again, but I want to get in the agave business because I love it. The passion, the smell it. All I'd have to do is just go down. So I went down to Oaxaca, and I spent time in Oaxaca, and I had a friend down there that took me around to all the really high, the small productions of mezcal, and watch how that was made. And that was very romantic to me. I was going, wow, now this is really cool, totally handmade. And the most expensive ones were the ones that I didn't I couldn't even drink. I mean, I'd take one drink, and it was great with jalapenos on an open fire, and grilled ribs and grilled rabbit, and things that just burnt on a grill with tortillas, salsa, and drinking mezcal was cool. But by itself, it was a little too smoky for me. So I thought I wanted to make mezcal. Is what I'm saying. And then I found out how hard it is, small production. God, you can never make money with it. I don't see how anyone could ever make money with the mezcal, but people have done it. But I couldn't mass produce it enough for my fan base even. I mean, I got a fan base. That's all I think about when I make something, when I make music, when I make tequila, when I open a restaurant. All I think about is my fan base. I just say, I want to make sure that they're happy, and I got to can cater to them. And that's where I start, by the way, on a business level. That's where I start. Anything that grows from there, I'm lucky to have that happen, and it's wonderful that it has happened. But anyway, so I wanted to make mezcal, and I don't like mezcal, so I thought, well, what if you water it down? And I found out that the mezcals that weren't so smoky and so almost like eating a cigar, eating a ashtray, um, they they were the cheaper stuff, like if it wasn't really. So I said, well, let's take the good stuff. And what if I take a good Blanco tequila from Juan Eduardo, first guy I went to. I said, can we blend this together? He goes, oh, hell no, man. All the Mexicans are freaking out now. They're like going, man, no, no.
It's
Oaxaca,
sacrilege.
yeah, man, you cannot put tequila and Oaxaca together. They're both uppity. When you're in Oaxaca, you have a hard time finding a damn bottle of tequila.
Yeah.
It's like you go into a bar and say, I want a margarita with tequila. Say, whoa, hey, you're in the wrong place, buddy. So it's really cool, but at the same time, it's trippy. So anyway, I couldn't get anybody to do it. I said, Juan, come on, help me out, man. So we went and found this a mezcal that I liked. I said, this is really good, just too powerful. And of course, he made the best Blanco tequila in the world to me, still, the way he made his tequila. And he did it off premise, like on the side. It took about a year. He kept mixing it. So I wanted to make mesquila. So I came up with the name. I said, mesquila. We'll make mesquila. He's going, there's no such thing. Government, Mexican government. No, there's no such thing. No such thing. Can't trademark it. Nope. So I still can't trademark the name. Anyone can use it, but because there's no such thing. But I there is, because I made it. It's called Santo Mesquila. And so, long story short, we finally found the recipe. He found it. He finally came to me and he said, this is not tequila. This is not mezcal. This is mesquila. And it makes the best smoky margarita on the planet, brother. You don't have to mess around. Because when you try to blend the two, they don't taste good together. They taste nasty. Put them in a shaker. You try all this stuff. Nope. So he had to re-aerate it, and he had to do something with the distillation that I guess it's his secret. I'm not trying to be funny here. I couldn't make it. And we tasted it and went, oh, wow, this is great. So Adam Levine was my partner then, because Adam Levine came to me and said, I want to make tequila. And can you help me out? I said, yeah, I'm making, mesquila right now. You want to join in? So he kind of came on board, and then he wouldn't promote it. I'm not dogging him. He's a dear friend. He's a wonderful musician, one of the great singers on the planet, and superstar. But he didn't. Oh no, I can't promote it, man. My management gets upset, because my fans are real young and we can't promote. And I'm going, well, dude, I need a partner that can promote. I don't need your money, man. I got plenty of that. So, we left on good terms, and Guy Fieri came and said, dude, come on, we're going to make tequila again. So Guy's the one that forced me out of just mesquila. I would still be promoting just mesquila because I love it and I think it's brand new, it's fresh, and any bartender would would taste it and go, yeah, I can make something out of this. This is not as powerful as mezcal for those guys that have a different kind of palate. So Guy comes on board. He tasted the Blanco first. How do you make this stuff? I said, here's the Blanco. And he's going, oh my God, this is the best tequila in the world. We're making this and we're putting it in barrels. I'm going, whoa, hold on. He just ran over me. A guy, anybody that knows Guy Fieri, he's a powerhouse. The guy works harder and longer than anyone. He's going to outwork you. If you're going to say, let's get in the same business, well, he'll outwork you eventually, and you'll say, okay, you win. He's really, really a driven guy, and he's smart. He's got a great palate. And so now we got in the full blown tequila business. And now we even have an extra añejo. Some people in this business, a lot of celebrity brands, they come out with their first SKU. They've got a Blanco, they got a Reposado, and they got an Añejo. And I know one of them that even came out with an 8-year extra Añejo all at once. And you go, wait a minute, how'd you do that? You know, so it just makes me laugh because we make tequila. You start with a blanco, and when that's perfected, then you put it in a barrel and you taste it as it goes. And if that barrel ain't giving it the right love because it's too old and been charred too many times or whatever, um, you try it again. And we dumped out our first reposado. We gave it to somebody else and bought all new barrels. When I say new barrels, once used whiskey barrels, you know. And we're all about that. We're all about the perfection.
It's still a growing brand. There's still a
Oh yeah.
lot to do. There's still a lot more places where it can be sold. There's still a lot more awareness that needs to happen. And bringing on Guy Fieri, I think that's certainly one way to elevate its visibility among a lot of folks in the industry. But it's also, I think, potentially something that, I mean, and you briefly touched on this, could affect the way people perceive the brand. And they're like, oh, I have this sort of perception of Guy Fieri and what he represents. And, I don't want to necessarily drink his tequila. So, how did you consider that? How did you consider how the public views Guy Fieri and, yourself, and to a certain extent, when you are marketing the brand?
Well, it became difficult when this whole celebrity thing came in, like it's a celebrity tequila. We kept getting thrown into that category. And I'm going, wait a minute, I invented, 100% agave tequila. Cabo Wabo was the first with Patron. There's no John Paul DeJoria. He's my dear friend. I just spent 10 days with him in Costa Rica. And we just were laughing about it. Him and I getting on the phone back in those days, like I was using his hair products, the John Paul Mitchell product. And I called him about a hair product. And because another friend, an artist of mine, was buying John was buying his artwork, and I owned some of it too. And so we got on the phone and we, we're talking about tequila. And it was like, wow, we were just laughing about how we were really the first. And so how could you throw me into a celebrity brand? I was making the first really real tequila with uh, Patron. I mean, they were better businessmen than me, obviously, they did really well. So Guy, the way we go about it is we just try to, ignore the celebrity thing and try to say we really don't like being that, and we're not trying to capitalize on it. The only reason I use it is for my fan base so that they know I have a tequila, so because my fan base will buy it, his fan base will buy it. But we just keep pushing the fact that we're additive free. We're not like 99% of the tequilas out there. We are additive free, and I mean additive free, nothing. Uh, we care about every step. We made it from a blanco to a reposado to an añejo, now to an extra añejo, and we did it right every step. We made sure that it was the best it could be, and that's different than somebody just signing up with some the big spirits company and putting their name on something, because we go down there. I mean, I spend time down there. Just like I said, before I made Mesquila, I went to Oaxaca for 10 days. And I mean, I worked the area. So I just, that's why we do interviews, is to not to like make ourselves more famous. I do them because I want to enlighten people that this is the real deal. This, in my opinion, Santo is the best tequila there is made on the market. And I tell you, my next favorite is Ocho. I think Ocho does a freaking great job. And there's some other even smaller ones that I can't even remember the name that I've had. And I go, wow, this is real tequila too. This is great. I'm for all these guys, and I'll help them promote their tequila to get rid of some of the crap that's on the market. The problem with these additives and everything, you got somebody that doesn't like tequila or doesn't know tequila, and they take a shot of one of these things and they go, oh, this is delicious. Well, tequila is not necessarily delicious. If it doesn't give you the, whew, I only distill twice. That these people that distill more and make the Cristalano or Cristalino, whatever it's called. To me, that's just crazy. I just don't. That just you're drinking something else. Go drink a soda pop or something. Or some. I'm about real tequila, and I think we'll still be standing when things fall apart. I've seen this movie before. Back when I was making Cabo Wabo, there was a time when tequila prices went through the roof. It tripled, and we were going, wow, we got to raise our prices or something. I said, no, 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 no. And my partner at that time, not my partner, the guy who was running my company, said, we can make a mixto, man. Let's start looking at a mixto and keep the price the same. I said, oh, no, 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 no. I will never make a mixto. In fact, that's why I got in this business, was to make 100% cigar. So I kept my prices the same and lost my margin. I was making a few dollars a case. And it didn't matter to me. I'm the rock star. I've got plenty of money, you know? So that's the way I've always done it. And Guy and I are doing the same thing now. And you know, and they're falling out. Everybody jumped on the wagon. It used up all the good agave. You got to pay all this money to get a good 6-year-old plus. You know, it was almost impossible to get an 8-year-old agave. And and you go, we'll wait it out. So, and sure enough, it's coming around again, as you well know.
So it sounds like the contracts that you have and the relationships that you have are just as important as the brand itself. Because, as you noted, there are some folks trying to get into this business right now and they can't because they're priced out of it.
Yeah, relationships is the spirits industry. Let me tell you, I'll tell you that right down to the distribution, right down to the stores, the liquor stores, the bars, it's all about relationships. I get on the phone and Guy gets on the phone and we call up our friends that have, a guy like Michael Mina, his bunch of restaurants. Michael, come on now. It's your buddy here, you know. You know how much money I've spent at your damn restaurants on fine wine and steaks, you know. And you almost gotta go about it that way. And the same thing with your distributors, Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits, who we're with nationally. They're huge. They don't. I mean, I don't want to say this, but they don't give a crap about us. We're out there selling 35, 40,000 cases for them. They're looking at these guys that are selling 2 million cases. You know what I mean? They're going to get the favor. But I call up Wayne and Guy calls up Wayne and we call up Mark, his son, and we say, hey, hello, we're over here. We're out there promoting. We've got a few restaurants ourselves, that got your brands are in there, everybody, you just take, you rely on friends. And same thing in Mexico. Juan Eduardo, 3 generations. His dad made the first Cabo Wabo tequila, and he was working for his dad. I first met him as 17, 18 years old, maybe. And yeah, you just got relationships. He calls up his farmer friends and, hey, I need some agave, And without all that, you're in a whole different business. You know what I mean? Without relationships.
One thing you mentioned, Sammy, which was interesting to me, is that you want to sell Santo to people who know tequila, who have a good palate. But what about those people who are new to tequila and want something good, but don't necessarily know much about this spirit? Again, this industry, the spirits industry, is having a hard time reaching legal drinking age consumers for a variety of reasons. Younger kids just don't drink as much as past generations. There's alternatives, cannabis and otherwise. So, the future is just as important as the present, I think, when it comes to the spirits industry. And you've got to think about, how are we going to attract that new generation? How are we going to get them interested in our brand? Do you have a strategy? I mean, is that something you constantly talk about with your team?
Well, yeah, the marketing people constantly talk about it, and it bores me because honestly, I've always said about my music, people say, hey, you're not that relevant with your music anymore. You're a classic rock artist and you're still making the same music. If I signed with a big record company, which doesn't interest me really, if I make a record, I usually go independent and sign a run record deal. Here's my new record. You like it? I pay for it myself because I like to do things my way. So when they say, oh, maybe if you teamed up with some rapper, or maybe you team up with some pop star, and you can be relevant and have another hit, I go, fuck, take that shit home, man. I my goal is to never lose one fan that I have because I'm successful. I can go and tour anywhere in the world and make as much money as I want to make if that's my goal. And so I don't need to expand my fan base. I don't need to expand anything. And I'm happy to be sitting there with 30, 40,000 cases of this tequila to people that appreciate it and love it, and we don't have to do anything stupid. If we were trying to sell 1 million cases, I'm not sure Juan Eduardo can make that much tequila. I got to be honest. I don't know if we could hit 500,000 and still have it be this good. My goal is to make as much as we can and still not cater to anyone or anything. Let people come to us. And that's not an arrogant thing, even though it sounds arrogant. Juan Eduardo's when you're trying to tell him how can we make better tequila, he goes, "You can't. I make the best tequila there is." So, and he sounds arrogant, but you taste it and you go, "Well, you're right." You know what I mean? So I really, I just want to make the best tequila in the world. And I don't want to do anything to change all that. And I let the marketing guys throw ideas at me every time we have a meeting, and I'm usually going, "Nah." All I want them to say is real tequila. All I want them to say is, no preservatives, no chemicals, no additives whatsoever. I want them to stick with that campaign. Free tequila. Our tequila is free. It's free to be the best tequila can be. It's just simple marketing stuff like that. I don't want to get all off into that anything else. I'm a purist.
It's important for your team to see your vision and to execute upon that vision. You've been in business for a long time, music, spirits, what have you, and I'm sure you've hired a lot of people. I'm sure you fired a lot of people. How do you hire the right people? How do you trust the right people to do the things that, are in line with your vision? And how do you, admit when you made a mistake?
Well, when you make a mistake, you have to admit it and you have to move on quick. That's one of the biggest problems with celebrities and all that is their ego. A lot of them just won't let go, of their idol. I'm right. I'm right. They're getting smacked around. No, I'm pretty good. I'm very, very liquid. I'm just, so hiring people is really important, right? I mean, you nailed it right there. That how do you get the right guys? And a lot of it's trial and error. I've made mistakes with people many times with hiring people, but you find either a person that gets your vision like that, and they got to convince me that they get my vision, and then they have to bring something. I'm not like what I told you about AI. I'm not about building a robot that does exactly what I say. If I'm going to deal with AI, I want it to tell me something I don't know. Enlighten me, lift me up, elevate my consciousness or my mentality, my knowledge. So that's the way I am about who I hire. I don't want you just to be a yes man, although some people have to be. Get this job done. Yeah, boom, they got to go get it done. I like people that are passionate. Man, I'm so about passion. Guys that look you in the eye and they're just saying, "Let's go, man." And like, "I'm really ready." Those people get to me quick. But then I like interviewing people that don't even know who I am. And just have their own opinion and vision. And if they tell me something that I go, "You know what? That's a good idea." Well, I wish I would have thought of that. Those are the kind of people I'm really looking for in my life now because, I've been there, done it. I'm this guy. You know who I am. I'm this guy. Here I am, just like what I told you. I'm not interested in getting new fans. I just want to keep all the ones I got.
Sammy, I'm telling you, this has been so great for me and so fun and so enlightening, and I think for our audience as well. I really, really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray, for having me.
Thanks so much for making an amazing brand. Folks, if you haven't had a chance to try Santo, put it on your list the next time you're heading out to a restaurant bar.
Blind taste it with your favorite brand. Come on, Ray, tell him. No, Ray, and I'm going to tell him Ray is under a lot of pressure now after me doing this interview and him knowing that I'm honest and true about this whole thing and how great this tequila really is. So now his responsibility is to make sure that the world knows it's the best tequila in the world. So you go get him now, Ray.
You got it, Sammy. I'm on the case.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Thank you very much.